Happy Merry Mondays. It's your girl, Mary J. I want you to tune in with me to Real Talk with Mary J on New Orleans Talk Network every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Then follow me to blogtalkradio.com/Real Talk with Mary J at 10 p.m. It's going to be a Merry Monday every Monday at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. You've just tuned into New Orleans Talk Network.
What it do, y'all? It's DJ Slick Daddy from the Live Line, here to tell you about the hottest bar on the West Bank, After Dark Sports Bar, 419 LaPelco Boulevard in Gretna. Come check us out on Monday for steak and oyster night. Thursday, free seafood night. Friday, 3-for-1 happy hour. Saturdays, ladies night, and always open for parties. And then Sunday, Saint Sunday, oldie but goodie Sunday. Come find out what is hidden for at After Dark Sports Bar, 419 LaPelco Boulevard in Gretna. Doors open at 6, 12 p.m. on Sundays. After Dark is a non-smoking atmosphere.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your boy DJ Slick Daddy.
This DJ Slick 514.
And of course, I'm your girl, Black Coco.
Tune into the Live Line, New Orleans Talk Network, every Tuesday, 7 to 8:30 with all the trending topics.
And you can also check out my mix, DJ Slick Mix for 1 and 2.
And of course, check out Coco's Sex Tips of the Week.
And hashtag TTBF. That's that bullshit. It's the Live Line, New Orleans Talk Network, Tuesday, 7 to 8:30. We always live. Let's go.
Oh,
And we're back. So we were just talking with Sierra K, and she just said that she actually bases a lot of her books on old fairy tales, which is really cool because we've seen that a lot. If you've ever seen The Warriors, it's actually based on an old mythological story about a group of warriors who were trapped behind enemy territory and had to get home on foot. And then there's another book called My Fair Lady that's actually based on an old story. So we see that a lot, but I really love the books like this that are actually based on fairy tales, and we give them a modern spin. So I see that's what you've done with the books that you've written. Mm.
So in the book, I sort of explore those themes of the stepmother and the father, as well as the kids, and how they managed to survive.
Oh, that sounds deep, girl.
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
All right, now I will say, now if you have your computer turned up, if you can turn it down, because we are getting a little bit of feedback, and so I'm not. So if you put it on mute, then you won't hear me, because I hear me talking to you.
Okay. Is that better?
Oh, much better. You did it. I don't know what you did, but you did something.
Right, but now I can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
So that's not going to work.
Okay, so what you want to do is you can turn the volume up, but you just want to mute. So that way we don't hear, when you're not talking, you just keep it on mute. And then when you're ready to talk, you just take it off of mute so you can talk. Get it?
Oh, wrong mute. I muted the audio that time and you couldn't hear me.
Okay, well, I'm just going to keep talking. And when you're ready to talk, you can just take it off of mute.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so how long have you been writing?
I've been writing my novel since 2011, but I've always been a writer. so I've always been one that would write, even just for personal enjoyment. I'm constantly writing something. And then, as everybody started writing and publishing, and I was just like, well, why can't I do that?
Yes.
So I started actually writing, and, I had met Naleighna actually through a mutual friend, and I met with her to consult. And then I just started writing, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. So Naleighna is an encourager, and it's always good to have an encourager in your life because encouragers will make you feel like you can do it. Do you feel like that was the case where you just felt like somebody had to kind of push you and tell you that you could do it?
Yes, but not only that, she has always been open and kind enough to, share resources and really just be there in support of other writers. And so, like you were saying, it's so important to have that community of people that are doing some of the same things, that are interested in taking the same path that you are, to kind of say, okay, I can do this. I see other people. I see the model. I see that it's possible. So I just need to keep pushing. And so that has been very important in the writing process.
Amen to that. Now, speaking of the writing process, how do you go about doing it? Because when people find out that I'm an author and that I'm a literary publicist, they always say that they have a book inside of them. They're just not sure how to get it out, or how do I write this book? So what is your process? How do you get started with a story? How do you look at that fairy tale and say, I'm ready to turn that into a modern story?
For me, I usually have something cooking in the back of my head. So, there's some characters back there that are just waiting for their opportunity to get out. And so often I'll just go to like a bookstore or a coffee house and just spend, just time just writing it out. Sometimes I come up with ideas, as you're drifting off to sleep.
Yes.
Then you have to wake yourself up, write it down real quick, because I never remember when I wake back up. I was like, I was brilliant last night, but I don't remember how, what I'm supposed to do now. So, just taking advantage of those moments when your mind is quiet and getting something down.
Well, my problem is a lot of times my good ideas come while I'm sitting in church. And then I have to hurry up and find a program or something, or try to type it into my phone real quick before I can actually work on it when I get home. So I noticed that that's happened to me a lot. It always comes to me while I'm in church.
Right, but you're sitting there, you're quiet, you're in the moment, your mind is, is just paying attention, and ideas flow.
Yes. And it's good. I mean, sometimes we do have to tap in, which sometimes means that we do have to go to a quiet place where we can just really concentrate on the art of writing.
Yeah, that is paramount for me. Some people could write, at home. If I'm at home, I feel like I need to be doing something else. There's a load of laundry that needs to go in, or there's some dusting or something else. So I have to actually take myself away from that in order to get something down on paper.
Right. And you're right, though. Sometimes it is hard to write at home. And I always tell people that, and this is a true story. One time I actually left I was in the Army and I was in the barracks, but it was quiet in my room. And I wanted to get out of my barracks room and go write somewhere else. But the only place to write was the community club. And there happened to be a big country concert going on, or some type of rock concert. It was something going on outside of the club. But I sat in the club and actually got 11 pages of writing done just because I was out of my normal environment.
And you knew that. You were like, I'm going to go here. I don't care what the music sounds like or what people are doing around me. I'm just going to get this out. And you were able to just let it flow.
Right.
So, my thing has always been write something. My godson came to me and he was like, I want to write a book. I was like, okay, start writing. He was like, how? Start writing. Well, what do I need
That's all it is. Sometimes just get it out on paper. You can always go back and fix it up later, but you have to get that idea out.
Absolutely. I go back a lot of times. Sometimes, I figure out I want to do something else with the story, or I want to add in a different character, or I want my character to do something else. So, the editing process is constant. But if you don't start, that's the biggest holdup for most people. They say, I have a book in me, but they never actually sit down and write that first sentence.
And what do you think that is? Why do you think that people will not write that first sentence? I don't want to say that it's laziness. I believe that they actually want to do it, but what do you think it is that doesn't let them write that sentence?
It could be a lot of things, especially nowadays, people are so busy. There's so many things coming at us from so many different places that it's hard to kind of focus in on one thing, period. Not to mention one thing that isn't part of your everyday job or part of what you need to do for your family. So it does tend to get, your life is busy. And I know for me to write, I had to be a little selfish, and I still have to be a little selfish.
Yes.
So there are times when I'm not showing up to things so I can write. And so my friends, understand, it's different priorities. So whatever the important things are, I'm showing up, no doubt. But some of the side things that are not quite, I might have to take a pass because the writing is that important to me to get those stories out. So you have to be very intentional about how you spend your time as well.
And you're absolutely right about that. And I talked about that a little bit earlier on my live. I always do a live on my way to the show. And that's one of the things I talked about. Being an author is the same as being an entrepreneur. You have to put time into your craft. You have to take time to nurture your baby. And sometimes that does mean sacrifice. It does mean that you have to get away from family for a little while, or you have to get away from friends for a little while. And the thing is, if they support you, they'll understand that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I never have any problem with like my family and friends. If they were like, oh, she's writing. Okay, well, we'll see you at this. I was like, yeah, I'll be at that one. So, like you said, when they support you, they're down for it. They're usually like, okay, well, can you put me in your book? Am I in this one? And I'm like, really? Well, you're missing this, so you might as well put me in your book. Oh, really?
Wow. So is that the trade-off?
5 minutes of fame.
That's the trade-off. Give them 5 minutes of fame, and they'll leave you alone for 10 minutes.
Exactly.
I love it.
So sometimes I'm like, remember when you said this? This is in the book. See, right there. You said that. I'm good.
Well, we do have all three of your book covers right here, and we want to show the world because we're ready for you to meet the world. These are your 3 books that you're going to be bringing to New Orleans. So, oh, I'm quite sure they will. Now, are these books in a series, or can they just decide, okay, I want this book, I'm going to read this one now?
They're all independent.
Wonderful.
All independent stories, so they can read in any order, any one that they're interested in.
And that's a good thing because sometimes, because I have some books that are in a series, but I tried to write the books in such a way that if you didn't read the first couple, you'd still be able to understand what was going on. Because sometimes it bothers me when I read a book that was a part of a series and they don't give enough backstory, and you're kind of like, well, now I have to go read these other books so I can really understand what's going on. So sometimes it's good to just pick up an independent book that doesn't have to depend on another story to make sense.
That's true. But then, of course, you have the, when your fans come back and say, "What happened to such and such? What did they do?" So you have to write another book on that. And I'm like, "But I'm writing this book over here." They're like, "Well, that one, I haven't read that one yet." So there's sometimes there's no winning, but it's great. It's great because if the characters have touched them to the point where they want more of them, then you've done your job.
You're absolutely right. That means that your characters actually resonated with someone, and they're actually going to stay with that person even long after the book has ended.
Absolutely. So I don't mind at all. I was like, okay, one day I'm going to get to that. Not today, but one day. Yeah, I'll come back.
All right. Now tell me, we know that you're going to be in New Orleans, and what day do you get to New Orleans?
I get to New Orleans on the 19th.
Okay, so you're going to be in New Orleans the 19th through all through the weekend. Are you leaving on the 21st or the 22nd?
The 22nd.
Okay, so we know we can find you here in New Orleans either at the Zeta Boule or at the Community Book Center. Yeah. However, where else can people find you?
In September, I will be at the Women's Expo, and that's in Rosemont, Illinois. And then in October, I will be at the Cavalcade of Authors, which is a Naleighna Kai event, which is going to be in the Bahamas. Yay!
Oh, man, I know she told me about that, and I wanted to go so bad.
Oh yeah, look, I was like, here's my money, take it.
Oh, well, I actually have a question for you. Mikola Wolsgard Iverson, which she is actually a small business owner here in New Orleans, and I'm going to be working with her next week. We're going to be bringing the tours through that are going to be coming through the bookstore while you're there. But she has a question. She wants to know, is there a recommended format that you like to write in? What type of format do you like to use?
What do you mean by format?
Okay, well, I think hopefully Mikola is still listening and you can explain. So I'm just going to try to translate, and if I'm wrong, Mikola, let me know. But I think that what she's saying is, do you write I don't know, maybe a chapter a day? Do you happen to use an outline? How do you decide that you want to write, or do you write it all out and then type it, or do you just type it? How do you go about your process?
I type it all out, but sometimes if I'm stuck, honestly, writing longhand helps me move forward. But for me, I typically I don't start with the outline, and I know a lot of authors do. I just free write and let the story kind of define itself. I kind of have a high level idea of where I want the story to go. But sometimes even as I'm writing and the story evolves, things start to change and I get new ideas. So for me, I do a lot of free writing and then I go back and do more of the formalized formatting.
Okay. Now I'm gonna let you in on a secret. I tried something. I'm actually ghostwriting a book right now for someone. And I was having trouble getting started, not because I didn't know where to go, but because I just needed to sit down. And so one day I took my voice recorder, because I wasn't in a position where I could write. So I took my voice recorder and just spoke everything into the recorder. And actually it wasn't even a recorder. I used the voice function, the voice to text. So what I did was I actually spoke everything, and it wrote it out for me. And then later on, I just copied and pasted the entire thing onto a Word document, and that's what helped me to get started. I had never done that before, but it actually helped me.
And I do that like if I'm driving, then that's when I get an idea, because once again I'm in a quiet place, in the car by myself sometimes where there's no other distractions. So sometimes I get ideas there. So, wherever they come, that's what I do. If I have a pen and paper, if I have my phone, it's just a matter of getting it out and getting it down.
Okay, so Mikola came back and said that she wanted to know what software you use. Do you use a Mac or do you use a PC?
I use a PC, Microsoft Word, and just write it out.
Awesome. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and take a quick break. I don't want you to go anywhere, but we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to go ahead and bring Lisa in, and then we'll kind of bring you in toward the end of her interview so we can round out the show. So I see you guys are all coming into this Facebook Live, which I'm loving. Please remember to like and share. Please comment. You can feel free to ask questions just like Mikola did. You can also call in, and hopefully the producer will give me the correct number so for anybody who wants to call in for the show. The number is 563-999-1808. That's 563-999-1808 if you would like to call in and ask a question, or you can just go ahead and type your question underneath the Facebook Live. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to meet author Naleighna Kai, my girl, the founder of the Cavalcade of Authors and all these other great things that she's been doing. My favorite book, Every Woman Needs a Wife, and all of that. So we're going to be right back. You stay right there. While we're on break, remember to like and share and comment, okay? Thank you. We'll be right back.
Here at Jones Insurance, your full-service agency, let us take care of all your insurance needs. We provide homeowners insurance, flood, rental, commercial, auto, and life insurance. Don't let the unexpected tragedy destroy your family's future. Here at Jones Insurance, 7603 West Bank Expressway, Monroe, Louisiana, 772. Contact Lois at 504-348-1492.
We're back. Talk What You Know returns on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. We got a brand new co-host by the name of Bob B. And hey, that's me. Also, we got some new features. We're going to be giving away, have a weekly raffle of prizes. There are multiple ways for you to win, and there's a bevy of prizes. So we need you to come on back, join us on Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock for Talk What You Know on the New Orleans Talk Network.
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
And we're back. Okay, so we just finished talking to author Sierra Kay. Now we're going to talk to our final author for the New Orleans Literary Takeover, Miss Naleighna Kai. Hey, lady, how you doing? Hey, now, Naleighna has been a good friend of mine. I met her. I'd always known about who she was, but I mentioned earlier I had a publicist named Jackie Salmon Miller. And she told me, you remember Jackie?
Yes.
And she told me that I needed to go to Lisa Woodson's Cavalcade of Authors. And I think the first time she told me about this in Chicago, I was like, I can't make it to Chicago. I was still active duty military. I can't just jump up and go to Chicago. But then I found out that you were going to be doing an event during over in D.C., and so yes. And then you made this little book where it was basically a chapter from everybody's book inside of the one book. It was kind of a sampler.
It was a sampler.
Yes. And I got to be a part of that sampler. And I think I still have a few of those books. I started to bring one tonight.
Is it the one with the ice cubes or the ice or the
It was the one with coffee. With coffee on it.
The Starbucks.
Yes. Yes, I always thought that was like a really awesome thing you did. I mean, do you still do those samplers?
Yes. I actually have two now. One is a red one is a blue one, and one was done in November. I'm bringing both of them down there with me to New Orleans.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, and speaking of New Orleans, I'm really excited that you're coming to New Orleans. So I want to thank you for supporting the New Orleans Literary Takeover and supporting Zeta Phi Beta at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event.
Thank you for having me. I thank you for doing it because, doing event planning and putting something together like this on this magnitude and this scale, that takes some work. And a lot of people don't know what it takes behind the scenes to pull it off. I do an event every year. You've done events, not just this one, but several. And it takes dedication because we put a lot of time, effort, and our own money into these things to pull them off. And people don't realize that. All they know is, oh, it looks nice and it's organized and it's well put together. They don't know underneath, we're like, ah!
But you know what, though? And on the flip side, there are things that you want to do, but because people wait to the last minute to support, they wait to the last minute to buy tickets, then you're like, you cannot spend the money you would like to spend in making the event the way you want it to be. And then they'll sit at your event and say, girl, she could have done better than this. Girl, look at that.
Right. It's people always, they have a lot to say, but they're not doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to see what you can pull off. People like to sit back and criticize, and
yes.
Black events don't get the kind of marketing and promotion and sponsorship that some of the other events get. So we have to do, it always seems to be grassroots, and it always seems to be, it takes a little more effort on our part to pull off things.
Right.
So, there's events that have been going strong for years, except for like RT. RT has been going strong 30-something years. And they finally said, okay, enough. It's time to retire and that sort of thing. But we don't have, I don't think there is an event, a Black event, literary event that has been around that long.
You're absolutely right. A lot of the events that we knew back in the day, back in the 90s, are not around anymore.
No, I remember the Blackboard event. There's some newer events that have come out, but they're smaller and they're regional, and then with the Black bookstores closing, so many of them, it is a hard way to go. How do we support authors and get readers out to the point that they're willing to shell out money to either travel or,
yes,
cover their own backyard? But it's been, the literary events is going to be the key to meet and bring readers and authors together. Because like I said, Amazon has been hating since day one. It's a necessary evil, but they lowered the price and they've been functioning at a loss for years.
Yes.
In order to put Borders out of business, Walden Books out of it, Crocs and Britannos, all of these stores went under, and even Barnes and Noble is a little shaky right now.
Yeah.
And my thing is, they did that to put the mom and pops and the Black businesses, the Black bookstores, they went out of business, quite a few of them. And now what is Amazon doing? They're opening up bookstores. They've been I've been trying to tell y'all. And then when they opened, a publishing house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do they promote more than they promote anything else? They promote their own people.
Of course.
And there's got to be a time that Amazon made the big six publishers bow down to them because they said, no, your price isn't going to be $14.99. It's going to be $9.99.
Right.
And then they said, oh, no, you can't set our prices. And Amazon, watch me. And what they did was they pulled down all of those books from that particular publisher. If they was beefing with that publisher, they pulled all the books from the authors from that publishing house off of Amazon. And they made it hard for readers to find it.
It's amazing that people would rather order their books because they think it's cheaper. They'd rather wait that week or so to get their book than to go right to their local bookstore, maybe pay a little bit more that they're really not saving anyway when you think about shipping costs. But
that's where Prime kicked in. Amazon was smart. You gotta give them credit. They were slick.
Yeah.
Because now Walmart is selling books. But the bookstores that would support Black books, that would gear readers and say, oh, you like this author, you'll love this author. There's a lot of Black bookstores that sold books because they kept in mind what the readers wanted. Yes. They had a relationship with the readers and the book clubs and the local schools, all of those things. Amazon doesn't have any of those.
And that's the reason why bookstores like Community Book Center are so important, because when you walk in there, yes, Vera, yes, because when you walk into that store, first of all, they're going to welcome you, and they're going to smile at you. They might even give you a hug. And then you just tell them, I'm looking for books for my little girl. And they're going to lead you over to that bookshelf and give you recommendations for those books. Yes. And they still welcome the independent authors into their store.
Yes, grassroots all the way. They didn't.
Yes.
They did sell the mainstream authors, authors that were published by mainstream houses, but their focus, and they truly had a love for local authors and independent authors and self-published authors, because the self-published authors would get in there and they would come and they would sell books. They wouldn't sit on their tuckers, their behinds. They would get out and greet the authors and meet them and say, hey, this is what my book is about. So the more books that authors sold, the more money that store made.
Yes, yes.
And that's where I think Borders also messed up, because they started making it harder for self-published authors to get in their stores.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Their sales
went down.
And it's still hard to get into those stores sometimes. Now, I have signed at a Barnes & Noble, and I will say when I signed at a Barnes & Noble here in New Orleans, it was while I was still active duty. And I was very happy that a lot of the people who came into the store found out that I was a New Orleans author, and he bought my book. I even had an older white man one time. He was like, are you from New Orleans? I said, yes. He goes, well, we need to support you. Just give me a book. And I don't know if he read that book ever.
Or anything like that, and probably went back and said, well, Dad, she actually can write.
Yeah, exactly. But, so every once in a while you will find a supportive bookstore But it is harder to get into those bigger stores, though.
Yes. But
So,
that's why, I started the NK Recommends. I have a service that kind of is trying to fill the gap that Black Expressions had. Remember, Black
mm-hmm.
Expressions was the one of the go-tos for hardcovers for African American books. And then when what is it, Doubleday decided, oh no, we're just gonna conglomerate, take a few Black authors, and we're gonna do away with Black Expressions. That whole mail order thing. Instead of fixing what the issue was that people didn't want those automatic shipments.
Yes.
And then the
yes.
people said, well, shoot, I didn't order it. I'm keeping it. So, you had your brothers and sisters that kind of hang on the books instead of sending them back. So they didn't fix the issue. Instead, they shut it down.
Yeah.
So now I open NK Recommends and I pick books that are quality. They've gone through editing. The cover designs are on point, everything. So that readers, I have a select group of readers. I have an entire Facebook group that is devoted to buying books from NK Recommends. And there are some people who have bought every book on the site. But now it's just building a different kind of connection.
Now let's talk a little bit more about NK Recommends. First of all, where can people find NK Recommends?
It's online, www.nkrecommends.com. That's Naleighna Kai Recommends, nkrecommends.com. But it's only trade paperback. And the difference between me and Amazon is that all the books that come to the readers are personally autographed. Yes. And I do that because people who get their books personally autographed, they're less likely to let them out of the house.
Yes.
They're more likely to keep them. But also, too, I try to select books that are worthy of being on the shelf and not end up in the takeaway or the giveaway pile.
Yes.
So there are people that I have to turn down. The covers aren't right. It's
okay.
Not
and that's what I was about to ask you. What is I know there's a bit of an approval process. So anything that's on NK Recommends, you actually recommend it. You're actually putting your name on it. So what is the reason that you would turn down a book?
Because the cover looks like they probably did it in their living room. It doesn't have a mainstream appeal. I mean, there are some people who are just starting out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just feast of famine, but the major reason is content. I like unique stories. There are so many Black authors writing. We're writing sometimes the same stuff. Yes. What is going to make your book stand out? What is going to set you apart from all these other people who are writing? Yes. I get that Every Woman Needs a Wife. I'm just going to be really honest. There was nothing spectacular about Every Woman Needs a Wife. It's actually my least favorite book, but it is the one that put me on the map. It was the concept, the cover, and the title that sold that book, not the writing. Mm-hmm. It was those three elements that sold it. And people say, oh, I love the book. I love the concept. The writing was good. Was it great? Was it Octavia Butler or L.A. Banks? No. But what it did was set me apart from everybody else writing on the same subject, which was infidelity, which had been done to death.
And that's what I was about to say. That was the popular thing. When I wrote Cheating in the Next Room, it was about infidelity.
I love that title. I love it.
Thank you, girl. But it was about infidelity, but people were surprised because they felt like it didn't have enough drama. At one time, when I first came out, and I think you had already been out for a little while by then, people were looking for books with drama on every page. And they they weren't really looking for the books that only had a little drama or dealt with one or two pieces of drama. Mm-hmm. It just had to be drama, drama. And I think now we're starting to move past that a little bit more, where we're actually looking for a little bit more substance to the story.
Readers are growing up. I mean, they start, but the thing is, you have to understand, we started with the classics. And then when Black authors kind of burst on the scene, when there was Terry McMillan, Elin Harris, Mary Morrison, all of them, it kind of introduced the more contemporary lines of things. Yeah. And, issues that were closer to home and told in a way that we would do our everyday talking versus more of the literary fiction that we grew up and had to read in school or, part of Black history or whatever. So now we have something that's a little closer to home. And then we want something that keeps our attention. People have short attention spans. And what some writers fail to do is you can have something that has drama and you can space it out and give the reader a chance to have a breather, a hook at the beginning, a hook at the end, and that each chapter introduces something new. That's something that I learned from Victoria Christopher Murray because I had a book done with them. It was called Open Door Marriage. And I learned a great deal from Victoria and Rashonda Tate Billingsley, they helped me to streamline my focus in writing because I had too much drama in Open Door Marriage. And they said, okay, this is all well and fine, but you're straying away from what this whole book is supposed to be about, the open door marriage. Let's focus on the 3 characters because the supporting characters are running away with the story. So they helped me to focus on what is most important to the story. And actually, that is my second bestseller. Every Woman Needs a Wife is my top. Open Door Marriage is the one that's under that. But actually, Loving Me for Me just hit number 1 on the AALBC bestsellers list.
I saw that today, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. So that one is about to take it up to the top. But I write not because of the list or because of the money, because if it was about the money, I would have been out of the business a long time ago.
Yes.
I write because it's something that I have to say or some particular issue in my life that I need to work out. And I work it out through the characters. So people can read every book and say, well, God, that's her. Then they'll read another one like, that's her too. Yeah, all of it is me. And I take the time through the books. I find a good man that can help hang in there with my strong Black female characters.
Yes.
And they love them for them.
Now tell me this. And we do have your book covers. The producer's going to bring them up in just a second. So I do want to... There they are. But now let me tell you this: we do have your books. You do write, I guess, in a few different styles. Is there a style that you just will not touch? Is there a style you're just not going to write?
According to Kamani and Harlequin guidelines, with no issues. I can't. And they've wanted me to. I've tried. The thing is, my characters, the kind of love my characters believe in is a little closer to home, but it doesn't fit the formula.
Yeah.
So romance would be one of them. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I do write sci-fi. I have written LGBT. I have written contemporary fiction. I've written suspense. So I've written along the outskirts of several genres, but I'm more successful in women's fiction and contemporary fiction.
Okay. And I actually, I'm a contemporary fiction fan. I think all of my books are contemporary fiction. Believe it or not, the book that I'm ghostwriting right now is street fiction. I've never written street fiction before.
Oh, now that one I couldn't pull off as well. Now that, you know what, come to think of it, street lit, urban lit, like in that jump. No, there's only so much hardcore. You know, my characters got a little bit of hood in them because I got a little hood in me.
Yeah, we all have a little hood now.
That somebody who reads that genre will think it's authentic. I couldn't pull that off.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, because we had a meeting yesterday, he told me, he goes, well, with the main character, I believe him, but I don't believe his friend, because his friend was supposed to be the really hood guy. He said, I don't believe his friend. So he's like, I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to let you know. I'm going to give you some notes on that. I said, okay, that's fine, because it's not me. And I was like, even when I did live in the hood, I didn't talk like that. So it's a little difficult for me.
Well,
but I'm
wait a minute. Get me on the right day. You'll see street fiction. You see that hood come out like I'm from Jeffrey Manor, honey.
Come on now.
I get it twisted.
But now while we're talking about that, though, and we talked about this with Sierra, tell me, what is your writing process? How do you get yourself focused? How do you know what you're going to write, where you want your characters to go? How do you do that?
Actually, I start with a theme or a message first. That is what drives the book. Every book has its own fingerprint. There's some that I've done vocally. I've recorded the story and let Dragon Dictate type it up. Mm-hmm. There is some, I do write a lot in longhand. Sometimes I use a story flow or / outline, but mostly it starts from something that is in here that has to get out, like, it could be like Loving Me for Me. Okay, having a hard time believing that a man loves me for me with the wig, well, back then, or the weave, or the rolls, or the plus size, the cellulite.
Yes.
Having to experience that and saying, I don't even have full-length mirrors in the house. What is the reason behind that? After healing from some of the things that I've healed from growing up in my childhood and all of that, what is still the lingering issues that I have to deal with that actually resonates with women who have the same issue? Loving Me for Me covers that, because actually there's the male model that's on the cover. His name is Vikas Bhardwaj. I didn't realize that people who we consider the pretty people or the beautiful people or physically beautiful, they have just as many issues, in the sense that having to know which people love them for them and not just their pretty face, not just their gorgeous body. Where on the flip side, in that book, there's a woman, she's an older woman, he's a younger man. Now, how is it that she can believe that he actually loves her? She's Black, he's East Indian, and she's older and she's plus size, and he has to defy his family to be with her. How can she believe that when before he's kind of caved into his family's demands? Yes. So I worked that issue out in Loving Me for Me. Each book starts around that, and the characters drive it, or the issue drives it.
That I actually read a snippet of that book, and I can't wait to read the rest of it. So I think I might have to you're gonna be you're bringing 100 books. You're gonna have 99 because I'm taking one of them.
Okay, I'll have that. Actually, it's in the kitchen right now. We have an event that we're signing at this weekend, the DuSable Museum Arts and Crafts Fair. So I have to put a few books aside. Me and my clients will be there, NK promo partners, and we're going to be selling and promoting each other, and even promoting the authors who are part of our group that aren't there, physically there. But my suitcases never went downstairs after I came back from Baltimore, because I am so ready. I'm telling you, I'm hitting that Praline's cooking school. I'm hitting the gumbo shop. There are 2 places you got to get me there when I get to New Orleans.
Okay. So you need to go to the cooking school, you need to go to the gumbo shop.
Yeah, and I don't have to stay at the cooking school. I just want the Praline's. I'm just saying.
Okay, I think we can deal with that. Now, I'm going to hopefully we can find the video promo that we've been showing of the New Orleans Literary Takeover. So we're going to find that, but in the meantime, we're going to bring Sierra back. We want to bring Sierra back into the show.
That's girl.
Yes. Hey, Sierra. Wait, you got to take... Did she take it off of mute? You can take it off of mute, Sierra. Okay. There she is. Oh, wait, we have questions. Well, first of all, Lakeisha, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. If I'm not, don't beat me. But Lakeisha Banks Turner, yes, she said you have to go to Cafe Du Monde. Girl, you better go to Cafe Du Monde. Well, girl, if you don't go to Cafe Du Monde and get you some beignets. All right, look at you. All right, now here's your other question. This comes from Wayne Glapion, who's a really big supporter of the show. He says, do either of you research characters for your books? If you are developing a character, do you pause to find someone who fits the character, or do you literally enhance the character on your own? And this question's for both of you. Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. We're getting some messages that the audience can't hear you. So hopefully we can get that fixed really quickly. Well, they can't hear either of the authors. Hold on 1 second. So if you guys can hear me, y'all please let me know if you can start to hear them now.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Mic check.
Can you hear us now?
Okay.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Right. I can hear everyone. I can hear the three of us. So hopefully.
Okay. So I think we got it fixed. So Naleighna, can you go ahead and repeat what you said about how you develop your character?
For the East Indian guy in Loving Me For Me, it was based actually on a real life person. And for him, I used him in the sense that based on some of the things that happened in his life, some of the things that we experienced at the conventions and that sort of thing about interacting with people, as well as having him to do the translations for me from Hindi, and also some of the culture. I had to have him read passages of it to make sure I got all of the cultures right, so I wasn't insensitive. So somebody who is East Indian reads and like, that's not right.
Right.
So, you have to be sensitive to that. Now, I do pull characters that are from my life. Like another character in there is Jay, and he's built off of my son and how he would react to things. So characters, my female lead is always me in some aspect or some part of me that I would love to be. You know, it's a career that I wasn't able to do in real life that I'm able to pull off in a book. I'm actually able to have children in the book, where in real life I have one, that's it, the cage is closed. But I get to experience motherhood all over again in writing. So in researching the characters, are they always representative of something important or someone important to me?
Okay. Sierra, how about yourself? Is that basically the same for you?
So since my books are based on, stories that already exist, I really take a look at the various forms of those stories to see which one kind of resonates and I feel that I can move into a contemporary direction. And then I look at the characters in those stories as well to see which ones I'm going to move forward. So if you take From Behind the Curtain, it was very important, of course, to have a character that was Dee, who was the young girl that was trying to figure out how she was moving forward and growing into adulthood, as well as the Auntie M character, who is helping guide her in that direction. Right. So for me, I have to take a look at the stories that the predecessor stories and see which ones resonate, and then I add characters around that. Okay. But, as I said, I have to put in a few of my friends here and there, just so
of course,
they say okay.
Unfortunately,
but for the most part, the core of the stories, I try to keep those consistent in my contemporary revision.
Okay, awesome. Now, unfortunately, I have to end the show.
Oh,
I know it's been an hour already.
That went quick.
It really did, but you two were absolutely fabulous. It's a great show. We had a lot of interaction from the audience. And so I want to thank you both, and I cannot wait to see you guys next week. But we're going to end the show by showing the promo for the New Orleans Literary Takeover. So if you are in New Orleans, please make sure you come out and support these two authors and also the other 4 authors who will be here as well. And if you look at the video, you're going to see all 6 authors who are going to be here. This is going to be a great time. Ladies of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, I can't wait to have you here. Welcome to my city. It's going to be great. So thank you, Naleighna.
And Rhonda, you're going in and out for me. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, it might just be me. Okay, thank you, Naleighna. Thank you, Sierra. We're going to show that. We're going to show that video, and we will see you all next week. All right. Have a great week.